Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Hopefully you are doing well. In today's session, we would talk about the process of word formation. How do new words come into being? My name is Dr. Ismail Abbasi and I'm working as assistant professor in higher education department. In this particular session, we would talk about how words are created, which processes are engaged for the creation of new words. So, there are various processes that we would explore. These processes would include borrowing, coinage, compounding, blending, clipping, back formation, conversion, acronym, and derivation. So let's look at them individually. What are these and how do they come into being? Before we go into detail, there is a technical term which is known as neologism. Neologism means new word. How do these new words come into being? The writer George Yule, in this introductory chapter, gives us the example of an electric suction sweeper, the device that eventually became popular and could have become known as Spangler. People could have been spanglering their floors, or they might have been spanglered their rugs and curtains, and they would have used the extended example or the types of a person who droned on and really sucked. All these related to uh, vocabulary could have been used, but the problem, however, none of that happened. Instead, Mr. Spangler, who was the actual creator of this particular device, who sold this new invention to a local businessman called William H. Howe, whose Howe suction sweeper company produced the first machine called a Howe. Not only did the word Howe without a capital letter became as familiar as vacuum cleaner all over the world, but in Britain, people still talk about hovering, not spanglering. So the concept came into being when Mr. Spangler did not keep this particular device or instrument or gadget with him. Rather, he sold it to another individual, Mr. Ho, who made this vocabulary item as popular. So, this idea of inventing or creating new word in a language is called as neologism. When we look at the history of a new word, we see that how this particular new word originates into language. So, this origin and history of a word is technically known as etymology, in which, like many of the technical words, come to us through Latin but has its origin in Greek original form, such as logia, study of, is not to be confused with entomology. Entomology is another word, but etymology is the origin of word, where we see that whether the word is a Greek origin or a Latin origin. So etymology is the origin of the word, whereas entomology is the study of insects. Greek and Latin are the sources of many English words, such as providing alternative ways of describing things, such as mono from Greek, monocycle, or uni from Latin, unicycle. The other major sources, Germanic, provides us an alternative form of one-wheeled cycle. So, in the development of English as a language, we can see that various languages played its role, and till today, all the other languages are playing their roles in order to promote the vocabulary of English language, in order to promote the standard of English language, and that is why English as a language is developing and having a kind of adaptability and capacity to merge itself into the local cultures, because it allows local languages and the words to be part of English vocabulary. So when we look closely at at the etymologies of everyday words, we soon discover that there are many different ways in which new words can enter a language. So therefore, we are going to have a look at all these technical terminologies where language develops into new words are coming into English language, and they become the part of English dictionary entry as well, which is called as diction. So first of that particular terminology is borrowing. One of the most common source in English language is simply labeled as borrowing, where you borrow a word from another language and make it part of English language. There are various words such as the list that is displayed before you: dope coming from Dutch, piano coming from Italian, tattoo coming from Tahitian. Similarly, the other list is available before you, where you can see that how all the other languages, Japanese, Turkish, Bantu, Arabic, Norwegian, Yiddish, French, Persian, all of these languages play their part by providing words to the English language, and English has the kind of capacity of accepting and adopting these particular words. So other languages borrow terms from English. In Japanese use, as you could see, supra or supramarketo, supermarket. Similarly, you can see that how typewriter, which is equivalent of typewriter. So likewise in Urdu, we can see that how school, hospital, or many other technical words are adopted into local languages. So it is a kind of two-way process where words which are loan words known as click are typical type of borrowing. There is a direct translation of the element of a word into borrowing languages. Interestingly, examples of the French term gratte-ciel, which literally translates as scraper or skyscraper, the word, as you can see, where the Dutch equivalent is Wolkenkrabber, cloud scraper, German Wolken Kretzer, cloud scraper, all of which are clicks of the English word skyscraper. So these particular words, they have the origin and somehow they are translated. An interesting example that George Yule gives us over here is the example of hot dogs. So when we Google the history of hot dogs, then it has nothing to do with that particular breed of dogs, which is of German origin. Rather, its color and shape only matches to that particular animal, which is known as Dachshund, the type of dog, but in originally it these hot dogs are made from buns and some sausages nothing more, nothing related to four-legged animal. So the shape is resembling, and German individual around 1800, and a kind of immigrant who brought this to America, he in a way related it to that particular animal, so the name came into being afterwards as known as hot dogs. Next, compounding. Compounding, as you can see, where we have seen that how two separate words they are used to produce a single form, such as Lehnwort, are combined to produce Lehnwort, which is in German and is the equivalent of loan word. The combining process, technically known as compounding, is very common in the languages such as German and English. And here you can see the list of the example where words are combined, such as bookcase, doorknob, fingerprint, sunburn, textbook, wallpaper, basket, waste basket, and waterbed. All these examples are noun. So we can create adjectives as well, such as good looking, low paid, and compound adjectives plus noun. Food, such as in fast food restaurant, full time job. So these particular ideas of combining words, where two words are combined to formulate a new word, such as you can see that pot and spout into kettle, flour and corn into popcorn, bag and put into paper or school bag. So another example of word creation is blending, the combination of the two separate forms to produce a new term is called as blending. Blending typically takes at the beginning of one word and joins it at the end of the other word. First part of one word and the last part of another word, such as smoke and fog, which is known as smoke, which is nowadays you can see that that is common in many cities, such as at the start of the winter season, where smoke and fog, they are accumulated in the air to create this kind of poison or unhealthy material in the air in places, and where they have a lot of this stuff, and that they can jokingly use distinction between smoke, smaze, or smoke, haze, smoke. So these are the various types of the smoke that could be used. Other examples of the blending are bit, binary digit, brunch, breakfast plus lunch, or motel, which is equivalent of hotel plus motel, telecast, television, or broadcast. Similarly, other examples you can have a look at those examples, such as telethon, or infotainment, or simulcast, or broad. You can see that how simultaneous broadcast is uh, equated with simulcast. So other examples you can see, they are displayed before you. Our next terminology of creation of new words is clipping. The element of reduction is that is noticeable in blending is even more apparent in the process described as clipping. Clipping means uh, trimming something or making it short. To this type occurs when a word, more than one syllable word, such as facsimile, is reduced to a shorter form. Pecs, usually in the casual speech, the term gasoline is used, but people talk about gas. Similarly, clipping is used in other forms, such as advertisement, which is shortened to ad or flu, or many other forms are used in noun. It can be used as l or ad or said, or um, any other type of words where words are shortened into smaller forms in order to make a new word. So we have to see that how clipping trims the word into shorter form, such as information into info. Next is hypocrisism. Hypocrisism, particular type of reduction which is favored in Australian and British English, produces forms technically known as hypocorisms. This process is used where the longer word is reduced to a single syllabic word, such as tele or movie, which is equivalent of moving pictures, or television into tally, such as bookie into bookmaker, and handkerchief is reduced to hanky. This can be seen as one type of reduction of words in order to make new word. Back formation is a specialized type of reduction process known as back formation, where one word, such as noun, is reduced to a word of another type, usually a verb. Example of back formation is the process where the noun television first came into use and then the verb televise was created from it. So, television as a noun reduced to create a new form, televise. Similarly, donate or donated came from donation, emote from emotion, enthusiasm from enthusiasm, and similarly, lias from liaison, and other examples are before you, where you can see that automation, a noun, is transferred to automate, or choreography is noun transferred to choreograph, and similarly syllabification into syllabifies, bulldozer into bulldoze, mixture into mix, orientation into orient plus orientate. So you can see that how words are reduced from one form to another. Conversion is another type of creation that is utilized while creating new words, a change of the function of one type into another type, where the form is changed or category of the word when a noun comes to be used as a verb without reduction. Rather, you can simply use one category as an other category. Here you can see that the number of the nouns such as bottle, butter, chair, vacation have come to be used through conversion as verb. We bottled the home brew last night. Have you buttered the toast? So here you can see butter was a noun, but here have you buttered? You have converted it into a verb. Someone has to chair the meeting. And also another example, they are vacationing in Florida. So chair was a noun, vacation was a noun, but we converted them into verbs by writing to chair and vacationing. So here more examples, they are displayed before you. I would read a couple of them. Dust, did you dust the living room? To cheat, he is a cheat, where you can see that verb can also be converted into a noun. Likewise, to doubt, we have some doubts. To hand out, I need a handout. To hire, we have two new hires. So here you can see that how verb is converted into noun as well, and that process of changing occur. So we can use all these processes to form new words. Another type of creation that is utilized while creating new words or novel words, that is the invention and general use of totally new terms or coinage, is not very common in English. Typical sources are trade names for commercial products that become general terms, such as without capital letters, for version that product or to market that product. Old examples are aspirin, nylon, Vaseline, zipper. You can use them into the creation of new word. So when you have a look at these, one example such as aspirin. So when you see the etymology of this one example, here you can see that this was acetyl spiric acid, but aspirin was utilized while coining these particular words into a shorter form. Similarly, you can see that how obscure technical term such as trafluoron is utilized is converted into a different form such as Teflon. So the words are reduced and the numbers are reduced. And the interesting example here is of the word Google. Originally, it is misspelling of the word Google, which means the number that is followed by the hundred. In the creation of the word Googleplex, which later became the name of the company Google, the term Google without the capital letter has since undergone conversion from a noun to become widely used verb noun to use the internet to find something. Therefore, we say that have you Googled it, or go and Google it and see the meaning or the detail about that particular aspect. So, Google is one interesting example of coinage where we formulate new words. So, new words based name of a person or place are called eponyms. So, when we talked about a hover or even a spangler, we were using a kind of eponym where we were talking about a person. Here, further example, you can see that how jeans is used as a representative of Genoa, where the originally in Italy the cloth was made for the first time and dates back to another eponym, dates back from 1762 when John Montague, the fourth of Earl of Sandwich, insisted on having salt beef between two slices of toasted bread while gambling. So, while gambling, he wanted to save his time. So, he ordered a meal that has to be sandwiched between two toasted breads. So, apparently, his friends started to ask to have the same as sandwich. So, the original name was sandwich, and from that particular name of the earl, the terminology of sandwich came into being. Another type of creating new names is acronyms. As you know that acronyms are the words that are formed from the initial letters. They can be used as such as CD, compact disc, or other examples. You can see that how NATO, NASA, UNESCO, these are the example where the initial letters of the words are taken in order to create new meaning. All those other examples you can have a look and you can read on your own in order to understand this particular phenomenon. As you can see that how ATM machine, automatic teller machine, is also one such example, or pin, personal identification number, is used as the example of acronym. Another type of creation of new meaning is derivation, and derivations are of various types where suffixes and prefixes are used. Both are commonly known as affixes, and the words are formed, new words are formed, such as the use of un or mens. When you use unimportant, unnecessary, unlikely, misfit, misinformation, misfortune, pre engineering, pre medical, prelude, beautiful, or other types you can use it. We would go into detail of derivation in another section, because this is a very lengthy and the long topic, where we would see that how prefixes, suffixes, infixes, circumfixes, various types of the ideas are used in order to create new word, in order to create various words that are used as. So prefixes are the words or the letters that are used before beginning of the word, such as un and miss, and affixes are added at the end, such as less or ish. Both are known as, in combination, both these are known as affixes. So with this, I would stop recording this particular session. And today we talked about various words processes, which included derivation, which included coinage, and it also included conversion, it included clipping, and it incorporated compounding. And also in today's session, we inculcated borrowing, and we talked about etymology, and we started our session with neologism. So if you have any question or query, you can ask me, or you can reach me out in the comment section. So stay happy, stay healthy, and keep others happy and healthy. So stay blessed. Thank you for your listening and your presentation or your participation.